Men and multiple sclerosis. Is it harder on the guys? Men experience multiple sclerosis differently than the ladies. In today's video, we're going to look at what those differences are, possible reasons, and what can be done to help. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, a special welcome to you. I'm glad that you're here. Last week, I did a video on women and MS and some new research that just came out. And I'll link it above and in the description below if you'd like to check it out after this one. So I thought it would only be fair to do a video on MS and men this week. MS is sometimes thought of as a women's disease because we get it more. Just like heart attacks are sometimes thought of as a men's problem. When in truth, they're both people diseases. Both sexes get them. Because there's a sex bias in some diseases, it could lead to problems with diagnosing and treating them. I spent a good amount of time looking into the issues of men with MS, and I found some fascinating and potentially discouraging information. In a review article published in January, they state, the male sex is reportedly linked with faster disability outcome deterioration over the disease course than the female sex. The guys are becoming more disabled faster than the gals are. It went on to talk about the differences in sex, aging, and MS disease course. Sex variations account for specific differences in aging processes, thus being responsible for sex disparities in disease phenotype and progression. Depending on what sex we are can influence when we transition from relapsing remitting MS to more progressive disease. Aging also has a big effect on how our MS progresses as well. In addition to the chronological age defined by the date of birth, biological age is depicted by the relative assessment of molecular markers linked with biological processes of aging. Biological age. So there's a term out there that's been turning up a lot in the articles I'm reading recently called inflammaging. Inflammaging refers to the age-related increase in our systemic chronic inflammatory status. MS is an inflammatory disease. Would you like to see a video on the topic of inflammaging? Let me know in the comments below. Before we continue, could you do me the favor of liking the video and subscribing? This is important because it will help the channel and help it to reach more people. Thanks. Okay, back to the differences between the sexes and how MS progresses. Most of the research done on MS is done on mice with experimental autoimmune encephalomyelitis, EAE. EAE in mice behaves much the same way that MS behaves in humans. The researchers induce EAE into the mice and then are able to study how it affects the mice. They are finding there are several ways that sex can affect the onset and progression of MS. An increasing body of evidence points towards sex-specific differences in the immune system and central nervous system caused by effects of chromosomes, hormones, and aspects of the immune system associated with barrier function, cell migration, and effector phenotype activation of immune cellular components. Age is also a contributing factor in disease pathology and evolution. Well, dang, there sure is a lot to it. What do we know for sure? Men that develop this disease exhibit greater cognitive impairment and accumulate disability more rapidly than women. The guys are more prone to neurological deterioration, exhibit greater deficits in finger dexterity, exhibit worse walking and disability scores. Postural stability is also reduced more. Men have lower odds of developing a benign course of MS and experience greater mortality than women. Goodness! They are also at a higher risk for development and have shorter time conversion to secondary progressive MS, are more likely than females to debut with primary progressive MS, and exhibit more rapid progression of disability. Okay, it is super hard to be a guy with MS, but the news is not all bad news. The same paper went on to state, interestingly, this effect of male sex and hastening of the onset of secondary progressive MS and disability accrual has not been observed in more recent studies where a higher proportion of MS patients are receiving high-efficacy disease-modifying therapies. Well, thank goodness for that. The differences in how men and women's bodies behave has a big effect on how our MS behaves more accurately, misbehaves. The paper went on to conclude that there's more neurodegeneration in males than in females with MS that explains the more rapid physical and cognitive decline in this sex. There are a number of biological mechanisms that may contribute to this more severe neurodegeneration in men. So, what can the guys do? There is a lot that can be done to help. In this article released in January, they offer that the outlook is generally less positive for people who seek treatment later in the course of the disease. For this reason, it's vital to speak with a doctor as soon as possible symptoms of MS occur. Getting on a disease-modifying therapy early in the disease has been shown to help, so it's important to get an early diagnosis. Speaking to the doctor as soon as possible when there are symptoms or a change in symptoms can be helpful with slowing the disease. Guys, please don't put off going to the doctor. And those that are partners or family members of men that may be experiencing symptoms, urge them to get to the doctor without delay. In addition to getting on a disease-modifying therapy as early as possible, there are also diet and lifestyle changes that can help with managing symptoms and possibly preventing progression. It may be even more important for the guys to maintain a healthy lifestyle when living with MS. Here are some things that we can do to help. Physical therapy and rehabilitation can improve or maintain our ability to carry out our normal functions at home and at work. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is amazing, and with the right physical therapy, improvements can be made. Getting emotional support. We may benefit from emotional support in the form of psychotherapy or support groups. Men may prefer to look for a therapist with experience treating males or support groups, especially for males. Our well-being has a big effect on our symptom burden. The stress hormones can make us feel worse, and the feel-good hormones can make us feel better. Diet can help too. Eating a more plant-based diet that is high in fiber and low in fat can contribute to better health. The research consistently shows that eating a more plant-based diet helps us to manage our symptoms and improve overall health. To see more of what the research on diet says, check out this video next. Exercise can help too. As the guys have more muscle mass than us ladies, it may be even more important for them to exercise. It can help to improve strength, bladder and bowel function, fatigue, mood, reduce stiffness, and improve mobility. Exercise has been called the single most effective non-pharmacological symptomatic treatment for multiple sclerosis. Seriously, the more we consistently exercise, the better our symptoms and the better we feel. Stress management can definitely help as well. Stress worsens our condition or results in disease exacerbations known as flares. Some stress management techniques are meditation, mindfulness, yoga, Tai Chi, and talk therapy. As I said earlier, the stress hormones can hurt our health and the feel-good hormones can help. Sleep is also really important. When we have MS, getting enough sleep is critical because the lack of sleep can lead to increased symptoms such as fatigue, cog fog, and memory problems. Sleep is important to a number of brain functions, including how nerve cells, neurons, communicate with each other. In fact, our brain and body stay remarkably active when we sleep. Recent findings suggest that sleep plays a housekeeping role that removes toxins in our brains that built up when we're awake. The average person needs 7 to 8 hours a night. Are you getting enough sleep? Even though men get MS less than women, they seem to have more progression and debilitating forms of MS. It is critically important to get under the care of a doctor early and to take exquisite care of yourselves. Are you a male with MS? Let me know in the comments below and let me know how you're doing. To see more on MS and how we can live well with it, check out these videos next. Please like and subscribe to my newsletter using the link in the description below. Until next time, be well.